everybody, welcome back. This is Abram Warner from Abe's Outdoor Adventures. Look me up on Facebook or on YouTube. I'll leave a description below. Today we're going to be tying an elk hair caddis. Usually these are tied in tan or olive. I've heard that black's actually doing pretty well on a nearby river that I'm going to be checking out this next week, and so previous to that I wanted to tie up a few and see if we could have a few in the box. We're just going to be starting with a little bit of UTC waxed 70 denier thread today. I've got a size 14 Firehole 419 competition hook, so we're going to start on that. So we're just going to be putting a little bit of thread right here. Starting, we can go all the way back if we want. Break off that little tag. And just continue there to the back of the hook. Once we get to the back, we're going to be using a little bit of small UTC ultra wire. This is in a gold color. It is in a brassie size, so usually it's a very small size. And we're just going to tie that tag end in. Usually you'll actually tie the whole wire in starting from the top, from the beginning of the hook. I don't like to do that just because it adds extra weight to the fly. We don't want to be doing that at all just because this is a dry fly. We want to be floating it high, so we'll just tie it into the back of it. As far as dubbing is concerned, we're just going to put a little bit on here. Remember, less is more with dubbing, but we're just going to do a little bit of this Nature Spirit Fine Natural dubbing in black. And like I said, this is just going to be hardly any dubbing at all. Just going to be so fine of a amount that it's hardly going to even see it. So we can always slide that up. Start with that back area, make a couple of wraps, and then start to move that forward. You'll see that we don't want to build up the body very large on this fly. We will need just a little bit more. Like I said, it's super easy to add on, but it's really hard to take off. So it's just going to be a little bit more that we're going to be putting on there. So what we're going to want to do is just get up to about that 3/4 area. Remember that we need to tie in now our hackle, and then we'll actually be putting the wing in. For why it's called an Elk Hair Caddis is usually elk hair is used. But yeah, we're actually going to be using a little bit of deer hair. I like the deer hair fibers. We're just going to be using a natural one today. But I do prefer it just because they have those shorter fibers than elk hair does. Elk hair will usually come in these really long fibers, and that's good for other dry flies, stimulators, most likely, but we're going to be tying in our hackle. We're just using a little bit of a kind of like a grizzly dyed brown. It's just so that we can start making those turns. And like I said, we're just going to be turning a little bit backwards, wrapping those. Just get some really good individual wraps there. We're just going to go all the way to the back. And then we're actually going to bring our ultra wire and start bringing that forward. This is a technique that's used a lot on a stimulator as well. It's just so that we can hold that hackle in place, and it does a really good job there. So once we get to that hackle tie-in point, we're just going to tie off our wire, make a couple of turns on top, a couple of turns in front, and then it's called helicopter, and you just slowly start moving that in a circle motion. It'll pop right off. So it's easier instead of having to blunt the end of your scissors. We're just going to come here into the back, and we're going to nip off that hackle that we tied in there. And you can see that we've got a really nice hackled part on our body. And now we're going to use a little bit of deer hair. Like I said, we're just going to be using a little bit of natural, and you can see how they have like those shorter fibers They're not as tall as the elk hair is. It's not as long, excuse me. So we're just going to grab a little bunch. It's not going to be too many, but you're looking at a little clump. And remember, this is a size 14, so we're not going to have too many on there either. Get our scissors and take that off. And then before I put it in the hackle stacker, you can see that there's a lot of little fine hairs and little like fuzz and almost like a dubbing, and that's just like on the undercoat of a deer or an elk. I just like to take my finger and start taking those out, just because it'll be a lot easier for that hackle when you put it in the hackle stacker to be taken care of. And you can see that we've cleaned it up. Some people will actually take small brushes. You can see that I have like a little small one here. You can just brush that right out. So now that we have our deer hair fibers all taken care of, we're going to put them in the hackle stacker. Put those in, stack them up, get them aligned. And then you can see that we've got them lined up. I'm just going to come in with our left hand, and that way we can grab them with our right. If we need to, we can take out any of those little undergrowth fibers as well anymore. Just pop right out some of those as well that we don't need. And we're just actually going to be tying this just right on top. We don't want the wing to be too large on this, but we want it so that it can flare right up on the top. So we're just going to slightly bend it towards me. We don't want to go past the end of the fly. So I'm just going to hold those, and then we're going to roll those right in. So a couple of soft ones, you can get a little bit harder when you're bringing it down, and pinch those down and get them tight. You can see that they've splayed right out. Now on a caddis, it's normal for those to have like a little bit of like a head. And so we're going to come in at an angle. You can see that that's flared quite enough. You can see that we're now just going to come right in. We're going to separate those fibers and see how those separate naturally. We're just going to come in and grab that edge. We're just going to nip it right there at an angle, and that's going to be like that small head that caddis imitates. Now's the moment. If we want to, we can add a couple more wraps right there. We're just going to come on in with our whip finish. And right there on the top, that's where I'm going to just finish out that fly. 5, 6, it doesn't matter the amount of whip finishes. We just want to make sure that it's a fly that's not going to be moving around as much. Obviously these get hammered on the surface, so you want to make sure that they're durable. But there you have it. That is the Elk Hair Caddis. You can finish it up a little bit with either a little bit of head cement. Clear nail polish is also something that you can use. Just something that you can like stick right there on the end of a bodkin. Just slide right onto that thread so that it is a little bit more durable. But there you have it. That is our finished Elk Hair Caddis. Thanks for joining us today. Like I said, a little bit late summer, early fall is the best time to be fishing these. Berry around a few of the different colors. Try that tan, try that olive. We're going to see how this black fares for us. Usually they're tied anywhere from 12 to size 18s. Just have a few different sizes tied up for you. But those should be a successful fly on the water. So thanks for joining us today. Like I said, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'd love to have you. And go and check out our Facebook page. If you have a love for the outdoors as I do, I hope to see you there and appreciate you.